AITA for going on a second date with the girl my friend set me up with as a prank? My friend set up a blind date for me with Emily. We had a great time together and shared lots of things in common. Later on, I found out it was a prank date my friend set up because he thought she was not my type. Emily was hurt, thinking I wouldn't want to see her again. I asked her out for another date, and now my friends are mad at me for ruining the joke. I, 28M, am a medical resident, so I barely have time to sleep, let alone date. My friends, also in med school, have been pushing me to go out more, insisting that I need a break from the grind. A few weeks ago, they set me up on a blind date. They wouldn't stop talking about how perfect this girl was for me, so I thought, why not? I met Emily, 26F fake name, at the restaurant, and right away I could tell she wasn't what my friends probably expected me to go for. Emily's not super skinny. In fact, she's a little chubby. But honestly, I thought she was really cute. She had this amazing smile, and the way she laughed just made me want to keep the conversation going. She's studying geology, and she was so passionate about her work, talking about volcanic rock formations like it was the coolest thing ever. And by the end of the night, I agreed it was a lot more fun to talk about than cadavers. The best part was how comfortable the date felt. We both found out we're autistic, both late diagnosed, and we mask a lot, meaning we're used to putting on a social act to fit in. But with each other, it felt like we didn't have to pretend so much, and that made the whole evening feel easy. It wasn't like most dates where you're constantly trying to impress the other person. We just clicked. Physically, Emily wasn't the type my friends thought I'd be into, but I didn't care at all. She's sweet, funny, and I had an amazing time with her. By the end of the night, we exchanged numbers, and we've been texting pretty regularly since. A few days later, though, I got a really sad message from Emily. Turns out my friends told her that they set us up as a prank, that they set me up with her because they thought she wasn't my type, and that they picked her specifically because she's chubby and not what they'd call conventionally attractive, thinking it would be funny to see how I'd react. Emily was obviously hurt and texted me, apologizing if she wasn't what I expected. She said she understood if I didn't want to talk to her anymore. She was wrong. I think she's beautiful, body and spirit. To be honest, she's my new type. I was furious when I found out what my friends had done. I immediately apologized to Emily, telling her my friends were idiots and that I genuinely enjoyed our date. I reassured her I wasn't texting her out of pity and that I thought she was awesome. After we talked it out, I asked her if she'd like to go on another date, just the two of us, with no pranks or games this time. She said yes. Now, my friends are pissed at me. They're saying I ruined the joke and that I'm being weird by asking her out again. They're acting like the whole thing was just harmless fun and can't believe I'm going on a second date with someone who, to them, was supposed to be the punchline. They even joked that I'm only doing it because I feel bad, but that's not it at all. I actually like Emily. I'm looking forward to seeing her again, and I don't see why I should let their prank dictate how I feel. So now I'm getting all this backlash, and my friends think I'm the asshole for continuing to see her. I'm so confused. They keep saying it's my autism and that I just don't get it. AITA? Relevant comments. Commenter. NTA. Sounds like you need new friends. That's some gross and disrespectful high school level behavior on their part. Also, disappointing to hear that they're going to become doctors. They're not the kind of people who should be entrusted with anyone's well-being. Commenter. Yes, NTA. Your friends pulled a mean prank, but you genuinely like Emily and had a great time with her. It's not about feeling bad. It's about real connection. They're being childish, and it's not your autism that's making you miss the joke. The joke was just cruel. You're right to follow your feelings, not their dumb prank. Commenter. You're a good guy. Be that person. Don't be that person your friends want you to be. You date the shit out of this girl. If you and her are both happy, forget everyone else. You aren't going to marry your friends. You go be happy and walk with your head high and hold her hand. I hope my daughter meets a guy that's as genuine as you are. Good job, buddy. This is when the gaslighting started. He said he couldn't believe I would blame him, and now he's mad at me. The clearer I'm getting and putting things together, I feel like it can't be anyone but my husband. I've asked multiple times, but he won't call his cousin. He says I can talk to his cousin, but it's been 3 days. The reasons I'm now thinking it's him. He claims this altercation happened and the letters will stop. This altercation never happened, but the letters have stopped. He hasn't produced his cousin for me to talk to. He's always seemed to agree with the themes of the letter. He seemed to always point out how my ex couldn't possibly have cared about me. He always thought that whomever was doing the letters was a man. The letters seemed to be mailed locally. Manipulation tactics recognized. He was shocked when I said I called the ex and wife. He challenged me and said, "No, you didn't. Currently, we're not speaking, and he's dug his heels in that he'd never do this. What this means if it's him. For the last several months, I've been depressed. I've been scared that someone is watching me. I've cried non-stop. My self-worth has been destroyed. I've felt like my husband sees me as a whore. It means he's created a world where I've had to grovel and prove myself to him. It means he's watched me be humiliated, defeated, scared, feeling crazy. I know this was long, so Reddit, any suggestions on how to figure out for sure who's sending this, and if his proved to be my husband, do you think it's repairable?" Relevant comments. Commenter, does anybody watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? This is a classic. Dennis system right here. You are in absolute danger, miss, and I would ask for divorce. Even if it's not him, he stopped being supportive. He got you so afraid and sad that you will do practically anything for him. Now he's mad at you? This is a time during which he should be your source of comfort and support. It's definitely gaslighty to now get angry and not let you talk to the cousin and stuff. I'd confront him in front of the therapist and let them see how he reacts. Good luck, and I'm so sorry. Commenter: almost agree, but you do not ask the psychopath for a divorce. You secretly engaged your divorce lawyer. Get the divorce lawyer to make an escape plan for you and your children. Lawyer will probably ask you to report this to the police. Bring your lawyer all of the letters and all of the evidence. Lawyer will probably do a background check on your husband as well. The letters could be examined for a forensic evidence. For example, if stamps were used, is there any DNA? Getting safely away from the psychopath without him knowing where you are or how to find you is key. Okay, don't wait another hour. Get this plan in action as soon as possible. Then please update us. Commenter: if it is your husband, run far and fast. That is fucking scary. Thank you for sticking around until the end. If you liked our videos, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Have a wonderful day. Story 2, AIO. I've been receiving anonymous defamatory letters for 5 years. I think it's my husband. Hello, Reddit. Posting on a burner with a friend's assistance. This will be long, but I am hoping to get some advice on 1, how to find out who's really doing this, and 2, if you think it's my spouse, is this savable? I've been married 6 years, together for 9. We have 2 small children. I started receiving anonymous letters a year into our marriage. The first one had a tone that it was an ex, perhaps. The letter was hard to follow, but I know at the end it threatened a sex tape, and it possibly being posted on Pornhub. Being that we were newly married, I immediately told my husband, telling him I don't have any crazy exes, and don't know who it could be. I told him an ex did reveal to me they secretly made a secret tape of us, but nothing else in the letter matched that relationship and with my ex's status. Explained later, I highly doubt he would expose himself online. My husband was cool about it, supportive and understanding. 5 years later, I forgot all about that letter, until I started getting more. 13 to be exact, from April to December. The letter was always typed with a handwritten envelope with no return address. The letters are stamped as if they are coming from the same town I'm in, and get to me about 1-2 days after it's stamped and mailed. When the recent letters started coming, they came weekly or every few weeks. The letters were vile, detailing some of my sexual and dating past, with the writing creating the narrative I was a whore and telling my husband he made a hoe into a housewife. I have never been a hoe. I dated for sure, but never a hoe. While the letters did have a lot of personal details that I've shared with friends, a lot of the actual details were false and outlandish. The letters ranged from me being the home of the high school basketball team to telling my husband I was cheating, to our children may not be his. They began to focus on an ex I hadn't talked to in 10 years, stating we're still in love with each other. There was one letter that came with a sexually explicit picture of a curvy woman in lingerie, bent over, claiming it was me. Although I never owned an outfit like that, her likeness was enough that I thought, could it be? I was in a panic and my husband was convinced it was me. We stayed up late researching, and I was able to reverse Google the image and find the original porn IG model. And it was, of course, not me. The letters had enough truth to lead me to believe it was someone close to me. I zoned in on a friend who recently had a psychotic break. She knew most of my business, and some details and pictures in the letter are things I only sent a few people. I cut that friend off, and so did my other friends. The letters continued. The final letter came Father's Day weekend, along with the big reveal. This letter included a picture of my ex and his family of 22 years, hence why I said he would not expose our tape as he was married. I did not know he was married, and he gave a nickname as his real name. This was all revealed in this letter. I dated him when I was 23 and in medical school. He was in the Navy, and it was a whirlwind romance while in school. Anyways, the letter revealed it was his wife confessing she's been writing me letters BC. After her husband confessed to me he was married, I continued harassing him. Not true. I was distraught. I actually threw up when it was revealed the ex I cared so much about was lying that whole time, and because of that, I had suffered such trauma at the hands of his wife I never knew about. She revealed she hacked into my FB and sent screenshots via the letters to me of FB messages between me and a gay guy best friend at the time who loved hearing about my crazy dating experiences. I detailed pretty much everything in these messages, my feelings about the ex, my dating episodes after him, and everything in between. The letters would come in my name and husband's name, ensuring he was opening them too. During the time the letters started back up, After the initial one, my husband and I started counseling, his suggestion. While he presented as supportive about the letters, there was an undertone of disgust from my husband. He would question my sexual history and would also say over and over, the ex didn't love me and his cheating behavior was typical of military men. For context, husband is also retired military. I felt so ashamed I would bring in my best friends and have them vouch for my character. My husband would ask things like, "Am I sure I didn't date anyone on the high school basketball team? How could you be so into this guy who wasn't really that into you?" Once he read the messages of my dating escapades and sexual experiences, we had a big fight, and he said he wasn't sexually attracted to me at the moment because it seemed like I was out there, which is different from what I said about my dating. We spent hours discussing the letters, who it could be, how, why, etc. Back to the reveal, we now knew who it was, and to our surprise, my ex and his wife actually live in the same town as my husband's family. By searching my ex's FB, we learned he is a mutual car club friends with my husband's cousin, Luke, fake name. My husband came up with an idea of having Luke confront my ex at the car show. The confrontation happened, and his cousin, whom I never spoke directly to, told my husband that he confronted my. During this time, I also felt so much shame over my past dating life. I started personal therapy as well. I felt so bad for my husband having to endure this, I would practically give him anything he asked for. I've never been a person who wasn't on most days happy. I now had anxiety paranoia, lost a friend depressed. I own a business and wanted to close. Most days I couldn't understand why someone would want to do this to me. I would consider this the most traumatizing thing that's ever happened to me. As I'm stalking my ex's wife's page, I realize she writes really nice things about him. Strange being that she's a woman scorned who thinks her husband is still in love with an ex he hadn't talked to in 10 years. Fast forward a few weeks and my husband's cousin was able to talk to him. He said he couldn't remember me at first. Strange, because although I'm finding out he was married, we had a very special connection. I know he remembers me. His cousin said my ex, then said, "Oh, the chubby girl remembers her." He proceeded to deny knowing anything, then confessed he actually wrote the letters as a joke. Supposedly, a physical fight happened. Again, I never spoke to the cousin, but the letters stopped. However, it ate at me that I never directly spoke to his cousin. I still had questions. I asked my husband multiple times over the last few weeks. "Hey, can I confirm this story with cousin? I'm glad the letter stopped, but I really need to hear the story firsthand, just to hear the justice that was brought on my behalf." I asked this 3 times of my husband, and he has still yet to let me talk to his cousin. It's been 3 months since that incident took place, and the letters have stopped. I just couldn't stop thinking, though, how could someone you shared such a special bond with that lied to you, then go and write the most vile stuff about you? We actually broke up after him telling me he needed to let me go to find the one who could love me how I deserved. I never talked to him after that day. My husband had me scared to reach out, and again, because I brought so much shame on our family, I listened, but it ate at me, and because he wouldn't call Luke so I could talk to him. I started therapy, and my new therapist made it okay to acknowledge I had the right to heal the young 20-year-old me that never got the closure in this relationship, being that I moved on and met my husband, whom I was grateful for. This week I got the courage to reach out to the ex. His number was on his Facebook. That was public. I reached out to a fake number asking how could he lie. He immediately said he was sorry, there's no excuse, and that none of his feelings were fake. I said, "Okay, but why would you let your wife write these letters sabotaging me?" He was confused. He asked me to explain. I said, "Are you unaware your wife has been writing me crazy letters for 6 years? He said, "I think you have me confused." I sent him the pics and a few of the letters I had on my phone, and he immediately called me. He had no idea what I was talking about. He also said there was no confrontation. I confronted my husband. He doubled down on what his cousin Luke told him. His cousin